this week's Women's Football Chat. My name is Chris Gadsby. I'm here every week bringing you the very latest from the third and fourth tiers of women's football here in England. That's the FA Women's National League after, well, what has been quite a week for the third and fourth tiers and the rest of the pyramid as well. A big thank you to everybody who joined in the live chat on the live show we had last week right after that expansion news broke. It really was a great discussion, and even more has been coming out and in the subsequent days, which we'll go through later on in this show, because there is plenty to go through. Also a slightly different looking show this week, primarily because I lost my chair. You can see my chair is here, just over here, and basically I went to go and get my laptop for those who want more of the cat, and I lost my chair to the cat. So Mowgli stole my chair, which means I'm having to perch on a stool to record the show because we both don't fit on the chair, and you can't chuck a sleeping cat off a chair. So yes, so everything's a little bit lower and my back is probably going to kill by the end of the show, but never mind. Right, plenty to go through this week. We will start, as we always do then, with results in the Northern Premier Division. And we will start with the huge victory for Burnley over Stourbridge by 9-0. 8 different scorers in this for Burnley as well. 2 for Anna Gray, but then 1 for Amelia Hazard, Rima Lord-Mears, Brenna McPartlin, Claudia Walker, Olivia Wilkes, Laura Elford and Amy Kelly. So yeah, really quite a lot of goal scoring for Burnley. Does wonders for their goal difference, doesn't do a great amount for Stourbridgers. Rugby Borough 3-0 up at half-time against Halifax, thanks to goals from Saskia Morris in the 9th minute, Katie Morris in the 23rd minute and Angelina Nixon in the 45th. But Megan Cardenas got 1 back for Halifax. And to only lose to Rugby Borough away from home by 2 goals is not to be sniffed at for Halifax. Wolverhampton Wanderers did all their scoring in the first half against Derby County. They won by 4-0. Amber Hughes in the 9th, Charlotte Greengrass in the 18th, Anna Morfitt in the 29th and Jade Cross in the 45th minute for Wolves. And Liverpool Feds winning away at West Bromwich Albion by 3-1. Holly Deering in the 6th minute, Katie Anderson in the 17th minute and Courtney Willis in the 44th minute for Liverpool Feds. Ellie May in the second half getting 1 goal back for West Bromwich Albion, but Liverpool Feds hold on to that 3-1 lead and take the win. What it means for the table: we have new leaders in the Northern Premier Division. Wolverhampton Wanderers go top, 2 points clear of Nottingham Forest, although they do have a game in hand. That game in hand will be next week, while Wolves are playing Manchester United in the FA Cup. Burnley remain 6 points behind Wolves after their big win, but they have 2 games in hand. They are 4 points behind Forest with 1 game in hand. So you could see how when Burnley play both of their games in hand and Forest play their game in hand, how we could have the top 3 separated by just a point. And as we've said for a few weeks now, it seems as though it's all going to come down to that mini league between those sides as to who gets promoted up into the Championship this year. Down towards the bottom then, Halifax defeated, Stourbridge defeated, Sporting Cowser didn't play, neither did Hull, West Brom defeated and Derby County defeated. So the sides in the bottom half all lost, the sides in the top half all won, which is why there's not a huge amount of change in the way the table looks at the end of this weekend. So, I mean, towards the bottom again, 3 points separating Stourbridge and Hull City. Stourbridge have a game in hand. Yes, their goal difference has taken a big hit after that weekend. But with 10 games still to go, one win is all that's needed really to really bring themselves back into contention there. So it's not something I think Stourbridge need to be particularly worried about at the moment. Halifax, 6 points away from safety. Going to be tough. But what we've seen recently, particularly with that game against Rugby Borough that we had just last weekend, they can put good performances in. And I think if you come up against a Hull, a Derby, a West Brom, and they play like that, they might be able to get some points. So do not necessarily discount Halifax just yet. Right, Southern Premier Division. Gwalior United against Ipswich Town was abandoned at half-time, which is rotten luck for Ipswich, because the first time they tried to go to Gwalior, it got called off about an hour before kick-off due to a frozen pitch. And now this one got abandoned at half-time with Ipswich 2-0 up. Because of a waterlogged pitch. So they're going to have to go all the way over to Wales for a third time later on in the season. And then Watford 2, Lewis 3. This game, Watford had gone in front by 1-0 through Ellie Head on the stroke of half-time. Before Lewis, really, to be honest, made the extra players count. Paula Howes in the 52nd minute, Olivia Carpenter in the 57th minute had put them 2-1 in front. This was with Watford down to 10 after Andrea Gorgiou got a red card in the 23rd minute, straight red card. And then in the and then towards the end of the game, we've got Annie Rossiter who got a red card for presumably dissent. We couldn't hear it. That was on the hour mark. And then in the 88th minute, Kayla Ginger put Lewis 3-1 ahead. Madison Perry got one back for Watford in the 89th minute to make it 3-2. But Lewis really making their two extra players count in the end. And this game has actually gone pretty viral, really, on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, kind of in a lot of places, really, for the refereeing performance. If you haven't seen the highlights, then they are readily available online. For the 2 straight red cards and then there was a yellow card as well, which they claim should have been put for my brain's gone dead. For a red card for denying a goal scoring opportunity. That's my brain went completely dead there. So it really is an interesting refereeing performance, and it got me thinking, because people basically are taking the mick and saying that referee should be put straight into the Premier League with that kind of refereeing performance. But it made me think, and I had to ask some people about this because I wasn't sure, when was the last time that the women's game at this level, i.e. the FAWNL, was in the news and around social media so readily for something positive? Because I'm thinking back over the last couple of years, and I'm thinking we had the first day of the new season clashing with the final for England, and everyone saying, why have we done that? Because everyone will want to watch England, and quite a few teams postponed games. Some made kick-off later and had it on TVs in the bar, etc. Then we had the other FAWNL board leaving. Then we had the Adobe coming in for the FA Cup and the hike in prize money, but only when the top teams came in. Then we had the fiasco around Golden Boot, Golden Glove winners getting a cardboard box that they then had to get home from Wembley. And now we've had, in the last week, this introduction of B teams proposal going round, which again they've been thinking about for a while. We saw what was going to happen this season when they put PGA sides into the plate, and that has there seems to be a split there between teams in the top two tiers that go, yes, it's a good idea, and everybody else saying, no, it's not. And then we've had this viral refereeing performance where everybody's basically laughing at the standard of refereeing in the game. So I'm looking at it and I'm going, when was the last time that something came in and it went into the news and everything like that, and well, more on social media than the news, for something that was really good in the women's game? And the thing we kind of came back to was the announcement, which was nearly 3 years ago now, saying we are not having the promotion playoff into the championship anymore. We're having two teams come down. That was the last time. And if you can remember, if you can think of something sooner than that, please do let me know, because I've been going back through, and I don't want to do a disservice if there's other stuff come out that is that's happened since. But that was the last thing that I could really think of, and I needed help for that, and that was nearly 3 years ago. So, oh no, it was 2 years. Yeah, 2 years ago now, wasn't it? It's another instance where the league is being highlighted for all of the wrong reasons, which is a shame. But we're going to get on to more of the PGA sides later on. So Southern Premier Division table, there's been no change in that. Lewis, who were in 7th on 18 points, are now in 7th on 21 points. Watford remain where they are in 4th. Obviously Ipswich missed the chance to go back to the top of the table because of the waterlogged pitch. Gwalia therefore stay in 10th. Right, Division 1 Midlands then. 5 games to talk about in Division 1 Midlands. We're going to start with Lincoln City against Sutton Coldfield Town. A 3-0 win for the visitors, scoring mainly in the last 10 minutes of the game. Ava Rogers had put them in front in the first half on 38 minutes, and then 2 in the final 10. Abby Bevan 82, Neve Deasy 87, meant Sutton Coldfield Town won by 3 goals to 0. Lincoln United lost to Notts County by 2 goals to 1. Goals in this one: Lucy Farrow for Lincoln United in the first half, Nicola Russell for Notts County in the 14th minute, and in the 77th minute Notts County taking the lead, although that one particular goal is not on full time as of yet. Peterborough United 2, Barnsley Women 1, Neve Reynolds in the 12th minute, Katie Middleton in the 57th minute for Peterborough United. Barnsley did get one back through an own goal in the 87th minute, but weren't able to find the back of the net again to get a point from that game. Worcester City 0, Leafield Athletic 3, Abby Cowie in the 12th minute, Cheyenne Jarvis in the 22nd, and Ella Bryan in the 40th minute. So Leafield, all the scoring done in the first half. And towards the top of the table, Boldmere St Michael's 2, Loughborough Lightning 4. Boldmere taking the lead in this one. Latia Bojang in the 8th minute before Loughborough took the lead. Lauren Purchase 22nd, Morgan Rogers 29th. And give them a 2-1 lead at the break. Boldmere, though, tied it up again at 2-2 through Anna Wilcox 10 minutes into the second half before Purchase and Rogers again made it 4-2 to Loughborough Lightning. Again, no changes in the table then for Division 1 Midlands. Northampton Town were not in action this weekend and they stay top of the table. Peterborough United, they win. Leafield Athletic, they win. Loughborough Lightning, they win. So 2nd, 3rd and 4th all win. They've all closed the gap to Northampton at the top, but of course they have now all played a game more. And then towards the bottom, Lincoln City lose, Worcester City lose, Lincoln United lose. Sutton Coldfield Town in 8th got the win. They've now pushed themselves to 13 points clear of the bottom 2. That's probably going to do it with only, 24 points available for Lincoln City and 27 points available for Solihull Moors, but realistically getting 13 from those final 8 or 9 games is going to be very difficult for them. So Sutton Coldfield Town have probably done enough now. Lincoln United, the more the games tick on, there's a 10-point gap to Solihull Moors. They're going to have a great finish to the season to catch them. You're probably looking at 2 from Worcester City, Solihull Moors and Lincoln City. It's towards the top where things are interesting. Northampton Town 2 points clear, but they have 2 games in hand on Peterborough. They've got 1 in hand on Leafield Athletic, but Loughborough Lightning have got 2 in hand on them, and they are only 7 points behind. So if Loughborough win both of those games in hand, don't forget one of them is against Northampton, then they could be within a point of them. Leafield Athletic could pull ahead of Peterborough United as well, and Peterborough could find themselves down in 4th. So plenty to still be fought out at the top of the Division 1 Midlands table. Division 1 North then. Cheadle Stingers 0, Middlesbrough 0. It was the afternoon of draws here for Division 1 North. Middlesbrough, the only real note, going down to 10. Armani Maxwell sent off for a second yellow card. Huddersfield Town against Leeds United postponed. Stockport County against Durham Sestra. Durham Sestra taking the lead. Lily Coulson on the stroke of half time. Maria Figueiredo getting one back for Stockport County though, and they draw 1-1. Game of the day, Doncaster Rovers Bells against York City down towards the bottom of the table. 2 for Jasmine Saxton, 1 for Ariane Parnham for Doncaster Rovers Bells. York City, Jess Holder in the 28th minute, Felicity Jones in the 70th minute, and Carly Smith in the 78th minute with their goals. So yeah, back and forth game, 3-3 it finished, and as I said, everyone then ended up with the draws in Division 1 North. So rather unsurprisingly, not really a lot's happened to the Division 1 North table. So Cheadle Town, they gain a point and stay top. Middlesbrough also gain a point but stay 4th on goals scored. Leeds United have scored more. Stockport County and Durham Sestra remain in 6th and 8th. That valuable point for Stockport has now put them 1 point ahead of the relegation zone, because the bottom of Division 1 North remains as tight as ever, with Doncaster Rovers Bells and York City both drawing as well. York are now only in the relegation zone on goal difference. Doncaster Rovers Bells do climb up a place. Their point has put them above Norton and Stockton Ancients, but the bottom half of Division 1 North separated by just 4 points, with still 9 games to go for the majority. So there are going to be some huge 6-point games towards the bottom of Division 1 North, and even then towards the top as well. It's 4 points separating the top 4. Middlesbrough have got a couple of games in hand. Chorley and Leeds United have both got games in hand on Cheadle as well. It's setting up to be great in Division 1 North. The only team that's kind of a little bit in no man's land is Durham Sestra in 6th. They're the only team that's kind of like, well, we're a bit too far away from the top, and if we keep playing sensibly and picking up the points where we should do, probably not going to get dragged in to that thing towards the bottom as well. So it's going to be great in Division 1 North throughout the rest of the season. More interesting than some of the other leagues anyway. Right, Division 1 South East then. 3 games to talk about here, including a huge victory for Chesham United against Cambridge United. 5-2 for the side that was fighting amongst the bottom 3. It started off so well for Chesham. In the first minute, Steph Weston put them in front. Natalia Makowska in the 10th minute then added to that advantage. And in the second half, 2 for Gemma Fraser, 55th and 65th minute, and another one for Weston in the 70th minute, gave them 5 goals in the afternoon. Eva Hubbard and Alicia Stocktoe down with the only goals for Cambridge United, and it's a massive 3 points for Chesham. Queen's Park Rangers against London Bees was postponed. Norwich City back in form, 4-0 win over Dulwich Hamlet. Hope Strauss 2 for Holly Kennard and 1 for Megan Todd. And Real Bedford also with a 4-0 win over AFC Sudbury, 3-0 at half-time thanks to 2 from Abby Benstead and 1 for Layla O'Brien. And then the 94th minute, Amy McLean got another one for Real Bedford, another goal in that goal difference tally, and that could, of course, prove crucial by the end of the season. What that means then for the Division 1 South East table, Real Bedford go top after their victory. Chatham Town did not play, but they've now played the same number of games, and it's Real Bedford 1 point clear of Chatham Town at the top of the table. Norwich City, and again this shows how close Division 1 South East has been over the course of this season as well. Just a few weeks ago were down in 8th, a couple of wins for them and they're back up to 3rd. Yes, they've played a game more than Real Bedford and Chatham Town, but they are just 4 points off the top of the table. And there is, of course, with 8 games left to go for Norwich, plenty of opportunity for them to close that gap, particularly because it is Real Bedford away this coming weekend. We'll look at all the fixtures in a moment, and then next weekend is Chatham Town, and then in March they've got Chatham Town again, having not played them so far this season. Take points from those games and Norwich will be right back in it again, and what a yo-yo season that will have been for Andy Cook's side, who went so long without a victory in Division 1 South East. Norwich went 7 games without a victory. They got 4 points out of 21 between September the 22nd and the Christmas break, and then they've come back after the Christmas break. They've won 3 games in a row in January and are right back into it again. It's quite remarkable that Norwich have played 14, they've drawn 4, lost 3, and they all came in that one span between September 22nd, when they could only draw with Chesham United, and the Christmas break. And if they end up getting up into Tier 3, it's going to be an incredible season for them. It's worth noting down at the bottom as well, that massive 3 points for Chesham United means they are now 7 points clear of London Seaward and Ashford Town, and you feel with London Seaward only having 7 games left to go, that probably does it for them. Maybe for Ashford Town as well. 7 games to go. London Seaward need 3 wins to get to 13. It's 2 wins and a draw from 7 games, with Chatham Town away, Real Bedford away, Actonians are in 4th, they've still got to play them. Bees are in 5th, they've got them as well. Sudbury are in 6th and they've got them. So 5 games of the last 7 are against teams in the top half of the table, and they've got to get 2 wins and a draw. The 2 wins are going to have to come, you would think, from Ashford Town away and Queen's Park Rangers at home. And it's going to be a similar situation for Ashford Town, although they do have 9 games left to go, so they've got to play pretty much everybody again and try and find some results from somewhere to save their FAWNL status. But that's, I think, you look at that Chesham United game, beating Cambridge United by 5 goals to 2. For me, you look at that and you go, that was the point where the relegation battle was finished in Division 1 South East. Division 1 South West then, just 2 games to talk about. Abingdon United against Bridgewater United and Bournemouth Sports against Maidenhead United, both postponed. So Moneyfield's 4-1 victory over Bristol Rovers. Said on last week's show they had the chance to go top if they could get a big enough win. Didn't quite manage it. Goals to Beth Burgess, Kira Heslem, Sky Louise Granger and Lucy Cooper for Moneyfields. Megan Jarvis getting one back 11 minutes from time for Bristol Rovers, and Worthing winning away at Southampton Women's by 2 goals to 0. Megan Curran in the 11th minute and Tierney Scott in the 89th minute with the goals for Worthing. Southwest table then, so Moneyfields go up to 2nd say the goal difference is 27 compared to Swindon's 29. So had they been able to get a bit of a bigger win, they could have been top. But they move into second. Bournemouth drop down to third, but don't forget they still have 5 games in hand on Swindon Town. They have 3 games in hand on Moneyfields, and they are only 1 point back. I mean, you look at it as well. I think I mentioned it on last week's show. Worthing have 2 in hand on Swindon. Keynsham have 2 in hand on Swindon. Bristol Rovers have 4 in hand on Swindon. All of those sides are capable, maybe not Keynsham because of the goal difference, but to win all their games in hand and go above Swindon. So Swindon are top at the moment, but by the time the games sort themselves out, they could find themselves down in 4th or 5th. So, they're a little bit of an elevated position at the minute. Down towards the bottom then, so Bristol Rovers are in 6th. They remain there. Worthing go up to 4th, but Southampton Women stay at the bottom with no points so far this season after having that point deducted earlier on. So it is still quite close. Maidenhead United probably aren't quite safe yet with a 7-point gap. But Abingdon United, Bournemouth Sports, Portishead Town all really fighting to avoid what you sense is probably going to be the other relegation spot alongside Southampton Women's. But we'll have to just kind of see how that plays out over the next few weeks. We are on the whiteboard behind me up to the middle of March now, which is the point where some teams will have played kind of 18, 19 games. So we should see by the time we get to that point what the tables are going to look like going into the title and relegation races. But that is going to do it for all of the results from the past 7 days. So let's now have a look at the fixtures coming up. We have supposedly... I had to take frost off my car this morning, but supposedly got a full programme of 36 games taking place this weekend. So, in the Northern Premier Division then, Derby County against Burnley. Liverpool Feds take on Stourbridge. Rugby Borough against Wolverhampton Wanderers, Sporting Cows against Stoke City, Halifax against Nottingham Forest, and West Bromwich Albion against Hull City. So, I mean, the big game really in the Northern Premier Division this weekend is going to be Rugby Borough against Wolverhampton Wanderers. You look at that and you go, it's 4th versus top. Rugby at home, they've been good. Can Wolves go there and get a win? Are they potentially going to drop points? You look at it and you go, well, Forest are away at Halifax. They should win that game. It might be an unconvincing win like the one at Sporting Cowser a couple of weeks ago, but Forest should win that game away at Halifax, who haven't won all season and only have 1 draw. So Wolves, in order to stay top of the table, need to win. Burnley going away to Derby County. You would imagine that they would get the win there as well, but Derby will make things difficult for them. It's certainly not a walkover. So the top half of the table is quite interesting this weekend. Down towards the bottom, as I said, Halifax probably likely to lose to Forest. Stourbridge against Liverpool Feds. Liverpool Feds are in 6th and they're at home. It's going to be tough for Stourbridge as well. Sporting Cowser are in 10th. They're at home to Stoke City, who are 5th. It's going to be another difficult one for them. And then it's 8th against 9th, with West Bromwich Albion against Hull City. West Brom, a win for West Brom, I think would do it in terms of ensuring their safety. Hull could really do with a win to pull that gap away from the bottom 2. Southern Premier Division then, Billericay Town against Exeter City, Cheltenham Town against Oxford United, Milton Keynes Dons take on Gwalior United, Plymouth Argyle against Lewes, Watford against Ipswich Town, and #United against AFC Wimbledon. So again, games towards the top in the Southern Premier Division. Hashtag United in first at home to Wimbledon, who are 5th. Watford in 4th at home to Ipswich, who are 2nd. So big challengers towards the top of the table there. Some big games. And then towards the bottom as well. Notably, Milton Keynes Dons against Gwalior United. Gwalior with a great opportunity against a Milton Keynes Dons side who haven't won all season to get themselves maybe 3 points clear of the bottom 2. Plymouth Argyle are hosting Lewes. Lewes down in 7th. Anything could happen in that fixture. Plymouth, only narrowly losing out to Stoke in the Cup semi-finals last weekend. So plenty again in the Southern Premier Division that could happen over the course of this weekend. Division 1 Midlands then. Barnsley Women's against Northampton Town. Bournemouth St Michael's against Worcester City. Lincoln City against Leaford Athletic. Peterborough United against Notts County. Sutton Coldfield Town against Lincoln United. And Solihull Moors take on Loughborough Lightning. So we look at this one, kind of a bit of a top versus bottom affair in Division 1 Midlands. Northampton Town against Barnsley Women's. There, to be fair, they are in 6th position at the moment in the table, looking more at your likes of Lincoln City, bottom of the table, against Leafield Athletic in 3rd. Solihull Moors, 2nd bottom, against Loughborough Lightning in 4th. So 2 very kind of top ends, and then Bournemouth St Michael's in 5th, hosting Worcester City in 10th. So it's going to be tough for the bottom 3. Lincoln United against Sutton Coldfield Town. Again, I think both of those have probably already done enough. A win for Lincoln United, I'm pretty certain, will then make that enough. I can't see Solihull Moors getting the win against Loughborough Lightning. You're then looking at a 13-point gap with 8 games to go, and you're talking 5 wins from 8 games. It's just not going to happen for the teams down towards the bottom. And I don't think too much is going to change towards the top this weekend, because, as I've said there, the teams at the top are playing teams towards the bottom as a general rule. So I think it's going to be much the same in Division 1 Midlands. Division 1 North then. AFC FAWNL against York City. Huddersfield Town take on Durham Sestra. Leeds United against Cheadletown Stingers. Middlesbrough against Chorley. Norton Stockton Ancients against Doncaster Rovers Bells. And Stockport County against Barnsley. The game of the day, it's at the bottom. Huge game. AFC FAWNL against York City. Now, one of those sides may well be out of the relegation zone come the end of the weekend. But then you've also got to look at, it's 9th against 10th. It's Doncaster Rovers Bells going away to Norton Stockton Ancients. The bottom 4 are all playing each other. It then gets better than that. The bottom 6 are playing each other, because Stockport, who are in 8th, are hosting Barnsley, who are in 7th. That huge kind of concentration of 4 points separating the bottom 6 might end up being 7 by the end of the afternoon. But you've got 7th against 8th, you've got 9th against 10th, you've got 11th against 12th. It's a huge day at the bottom of Division 1 North. And then towards the top of the table, you've got first in Cheadletown going to 3rd, you've got 4th hosting 2nd, and you've got 5th against 6th. So really, everybody is playing the team right next to them, apart from those 4 teams at the top who are playing each other. So you've got 1 against 3, 2 against 4, 5v6, 7v8, 9v10 and 11v12. What a weekend in Division 1 North we have waiting for us on Sunday afternoon. That means that I am praying that those games all get on and we don't end up losing them to waterlogged pitches and frozen pitches and all the rest of it, because that's going to be a great afternoon of football for the league table. Right, Division 1 South East then. 2 leagues still to go before we get on to bits and pieces of news. Actonians against Dulwich Hamlet, AFC Sudbury against Ashford Town, Cheshire United against Queen's Park Rangers, London Bees take on Cambridge United, Real Bedford against Norwich City, and Chatham Town against London Seawood. So, well, again, big game is towards the top. It's first versus third as Real Bedford take on Norwich City. Chatham Town in second, you would imagine, will get the win at home to London Seaward. Actonians in fourth, taking on Dulwich Hamlet in ninth. AFC Sudbury, they're currently in sixth, and they go up against Ashford Town, who are bottom of the table. And Cheshire United against Queen's Park Rangers. After their big victory against Cambridge United, who are seventh, can Cheshire United do it again, beating Queen's Park Rangers, who are currently in eighth? If they were able to do that, then that really is done then if it's a 10-point gap. London Seaward do not think are going to be able to come back from that, and nor do I think are Ashford Town. Again, it's towards the top really that the big interest is going to be this weekend. And finally then, Division 1 South West, Bournemouth Sports against Abingdon United, Keynsham Town against AFC Bournemouth, Portishead Town against Maidenhead United, Southampton Women's take on Moneyfields, Swindon Town against Bristol Rovers, and Worthing against Bridgewater United. Again, it's important towards the bottom this weekend. We've got Bournemouth Sports against Abingdon United, that is 10th against 9th, and Portishead Town in 11th hosting Maidenhead, who are 8th. So 4 of those bottom 5 coming up against each other. Southampton Women's are playing Moneyfields. Moneyfields currently second. That's going to be difficult for them. But elsewhere, those bottom 4, well, 4 of those bottom 5 all coming up against each other. And towards the top as well, to be fair, Swindon Town currently top, Bristol Rovers in 6th, but Keynsham against Bournemouth is 5th against 3rd. And as I said then, Moneyfields and Worthing, you would expect probably going to get the 3 points. Worthing against Bridgewater United, who are currently in 7th. That you think that particularly at home, Worthing would probably get 3 points there. So again, South West could look very different come Sunday afternoon. Right, that's all the fixtures on what is supposedly a full programme coming up this weekend. Right, let's talk, now we've had a week to kind of digest them, let's talk about B teams. And, well, we've seen numerous podcasts, we've seen numerous... we listened to numerous podcasts, should I say. We've seen numerous articles, we've seen teams coming out and saying what they think. And for me, it's the same. As I say, there seems to be a split that the teams at the top who are going to benefit from this think it's a great idea, and everybody else in the pyramid who's not going to benefit from this thinks it's an awful idea. So, yeah, and I asked actually, because I've been doing a lot of reading into this. So I put out yesterday a question for this week's show, because I'd love to hear it from kind of fans' words. So if you missed it on social media, then do go find it and give your opinion. There are currently 18 reserve sides in the pyramid in Tier 6, 11 of which belong to already FAWNL sides. 7 of them are from teams currently in Tier 5 that then have a reserve team in Tier 6. At the minute, there is a ceiling. Reserve teams can't go above Tier 6, but that is being lifted. So my question was, and kind of a bit playing devil's advocate, but it's important to get both sides. With 18 sides already in the pyramid, what is the biggest concern and the worry with adding more in? Because this is not unprecedented, because there's already 18 teams in it. And we got one in from Johnny Slater, who's chair at Chorley, who says basically sporting integrity of tiers 5 and 6, the ability for independent clubs at that level to be able to progress up the pyramid if all their promotion slots are being taken away from teams who can't go up. And Nick came in. They should move into the FAWNL Reserve League as the bottom of the pyramid strengthens, and thus freeing up space for more teams locally to fill the spaces, which is why the expansion of the pyramid itself was a good idea. Yeah, I mean, since 71, they put a blog out, they put a poll out as well, which I'll bring up. Essentially, they put numerous questions to people, and the results were overwhelming. When I can find out where that had gone. Here it is. So, question 1. What do you think of the introduction of PGA sides and B teams? 79% of people said the introduction was a bad idea. 10% said it was a good idea, and 11 were undecided. And then the complete flip of that, the addition of the playoff system for promotion is a positive thing. 84% said yes, 9% said no, and 7 were undecided. So, basically, from what's come out from the proposal, playoffs, yes. PGA teams, no. And I also did some looking more into the maths around all these vacancies and what the FA want to do. Presumably, the 30 sides currently in the FAWNL Reserve League, they're going to shove all into Tier 6. Because I imagine that the 6 slots in Tier 4 and the 2 slots in Tier 5 are probably going to be taken up by Super League PGA sides. Don't know that for sure, but that is my guess. But because... So what I want to know is the vacancies that they've said, up to 52 in Tier 6, does not take into account the 18 sides that are already in it. And 7 of those are Tier 5. Now, by the ruling of reserve sides can't be within 2 tiers of the first team side, 7 of those sides should go, which means we will have 59 vacancies. And which they will want to fill with some teams from Tier 7, they've said, and the rest from FAWNL reserve sides. Not every FAWNL side is going to want to put a reserve side in. And they're also kind of banking on every single Super League and Championship side putting reserve sides in with the current maths. But with 11 already in there, and the addition of 52, because presumably, as I said, those 7 Tier 5 sides will go. Well, they should go. So that's actually 59 vacancies. Plus the 11 that's already there. That's 70 vacancies for FAWNL sides in Tier 6. There are only going to be 84 FAWNL sides, and the FA in an ideal world wants 70 of them. But there's 70 spaces. They want 54 of them out of the 84 to go into there, because they're going to add the rest of the PGAs into Tier 6 as well, which I'd forgotten momentarily. So it's 16 PGAs and then 54 FAWNL is kind of what they're thinking. There are currently 30 sides in the reserve leagues. 2 of them are Newcastle and Portsmouth. So there's 28 FAWNL sides currently in the reserve leagues. That means we're going to have to find another 26 sides in the FAWNL who have the desire and the want to get a reserve side and put them into Tier 6. 26 is a lot. Particularly 26 out of the remaining, 40? 44? It's a lot that they're asking. So I think they're kind of hoping that a lot of Tier 7 will move up. The other general concern, and I read it again in The Guardian from the owner of Rugby Borough, is that we're going to see in a few years' time B teams into Tier 3, which is going to reduce Tier 3's competitiveness because they can't go any higher. And it's going to be a case of, well, is it a case of I mean, no one's going to want to go and watch the B teams. That's been kind of proven with the men's game. And I think the owners of clubs and the managers of clubs are concerned that if you bring B teams into tier 4, tier 3, wherever, it's going to be difficult for players to get up for those games because no one's going to go. They don't want to go and play B teams. Now, who wants to go and play just all the under-21s? And this is all stemming from, well, the current reserve fixture doesn't prepare players, etc. I still don't think it's right. We've got these consultations, we've got all the rest of this stuff that's meant to be coming through. Is it coming through? I think the other thing that was particularly interesting, and I hadn't picked up on it when it was first said. It was only when I read from another article in The Guardian, and I'll have to go through and find it. So it says that so they're currently at phase 3, consultation with PGAs, FAWNL clubs, regional clubs and FA colleagues. And then it says that everyone will have at least two opportunities to contribute. They've already heard from FAWPELL, 20 of 21 PGAs, 60 FAWNL clubs engaged as well. And then you go through and it says, try and find it, that there's a full ecosystem. Yeah, so I found it here. So full ecosystem opportunity to engage with the proposal. WNL clubs, sporting people, FA staff, roadshow, online sessions, PGAs, all the rest of it. Players as well. Regional league clubs. Basically, opportunity for all the clubs to get involved and engage with the proposal. And then it just says final proposal and then just board decision-making process. So I think the concern, from what I understand, and this is kind of my final point really on this week's show, is that it sounds like the clubs don't get the vote in it. They can put their views on it, but then the boards just make their minds up in March and April. So if the boards say we're going to do it, you can listen, you can invite the clubs for their say, but then not listen to them at all. And I think the concern is that's what's going to happen. Because I'm yet to see a single person outside of the top 2 leagues say that adding the B teams and the PGA teams into the pyramid is the right way to go. And I think the concern from clubs is they can put their views across, but their views aren't going to be listened to. And I think that is the big concern, but we will see what happens come March, come April time. And of course, it'll all be here on the Women's Football Chat. Right, that will about do it. But one final piece of news. Teased it earlier in the week. And there'll be a press release going out now. Is that, well, the title of the show kind of goes with it as well. This is the last show of the Women's Football Chat, kind of in the current sort of format. From next week, the Women's Football Chat has joined Switch Sport in Birmingham on 107.5 FM, DAB and online. Saturday evenings at 5 o'clock, right after the non-league coverage, is the Women's Football Chat on the radio. So what it means is when I'm recording this show, the YouTube version is still going to go out on a Thursday evening. Nothing's going to change in that regard. It just might sound a little bit different. There might be a few more beds in there. I will try and edit it as much as I normally do down, and but we've got interviews, but they're going to be obviously mainly to start with, obviously Birmingham centric, from the live women's football commentaries across the FAWNL on Sunday afternoon from the week before. So it'll be around Worcester City, Sutton Coldfield Town, Boldmere, Lee Field, those sorts of teams across to the East Midlands a little bit. So still covering all 72 teams, still covering all the leagues, but the show will now be going out on the radio as well on a Saturday afternoon. So you'll hear highlights, you'll hear from the managers, and it should be quite exciting. So it might sound a little bit different, the radio. The big thing from the show's point of view is that obviously on YouTube you can listen at any time you want anyway, but there might be a weird time check in there. For example, in the introduction I'll be saying how I'm here till 6 o'clock, whereas you might be listening at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and think, what, a 4-hour show? And then there might be a time check near the half hour point, something like that. But yeah, very excited to be joining Switch Sports. Should help to elevate the show to another level. As I said, YouTube weekly show doesn't change, it just might sound a little bit different. We'll still be covering all 72 sides, we'll still be diving into the big news of the week. Nothing has changed in that regard, but another outlet for the women's football chat. So after 170 episodes of being exclusively on YouTube, and thank you if you've joined me from episode 1, we're branching out, but I will be back next week Thursday at 8 o'clock with the women's football chat, and then if you want to hear it again you can do it so on Saturdays 5 p.m. on Switch Sports if you're in Birmingham, or online from wherever you are in the country. So thank you very much for watching this week's episode of the Women's Football Chat. Do keep your thoughts coming in on the B teams. I'm sure we're going to see even more over the next week or so as people continue to give their thoughts and opinions. I'll be back next Thursday 8 o'clock with the Women's Football Chat after what hopefully is a full programme of results to go through. Goodbye.